Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Easy Learn. And today's topic is algebra, within which we're going to be doing simultaneous equations, also known as systems of equations. And we're going to be doing some practice today. I've already discussed the methods and the ways to solve simultaneous equations, and you can check out those video links in the description below. For today, we're going to start off with some practical questions we need, and we mostly figure out in our examinations and different kind of papers when we are dealing with the system of equations. So, to begin with, today's question is: David buys two scones and two coffees in a shop, and the cost is £18. Ellie buys three scones and two coffees in the same shop, and they cost £22. Form two equations and solve to find the cost of each scone and each coffee. Now, the thing is, this question requires us to form equations. Okay, and for forming equations, you need to carefully analyze the two quantities involved. In simultaneous equations, we have two equations, and each equation has two different variables. Now, for this one, since it says two scones, so let's say we can refer to the scones as S, and two coffees, we can call it as C. And we know that simultaneous equations can be solved using three methods: either substitution, or elimination, or graphing. Now, how do I figure out which method to use depends on the type of equations I end up in. Now, for the first one, let's say David buys two scones and two coffees. Two scones means 2S, plus two coffees means 2C. And that is equal to, basically, two scones and two coffees are costing 18, which means 2S plus 2C is giving me 18. Now the next part: Ellie buys three scones and two coffees. Now S becomes 3 this time, so the second equation is 3S plus two coffees, which means 2C, in the same shop, and they cost $22. So for the first one we had $18, for the second one $22. Now that's our equation number 1, and this one's our equation number 2. Now that we have two separate equations, we are supposed to decide which one am I supposed to use: substitution, elimination, or graphing. Now, which one looks easier here? In substitution, it's best to use substitution when a variable is standing alone, which means that you don't have a number attached to it, either a 2 or a 4 or 5 or anything. If it was 2s plus c, only plus c, then I would have used elimination. Graphing, on the other hand, is just a more complicated method where you keep on adding up the x values and then taking out the y values, and that kind of takes time. So that is only required for us to use when the question specifically asks us to graph. Otherwise, we mostly stick with either substitution or elimination. Now, substitution is ruled out, graphing is ruled out. The second method that says elimination. Maybe I can use elimination in this. Why? Because in elimination, there were two things I had to take care of. First thing, the bases should be same, and the second thing, that signs should be opposite. Now, what do I mean by opposite signs? Which means one should be plus and one should be minus. In any of the cases, if any of those conditions do not meet, I can do something to the equation so that my conditions meet. Now, for example, for the first one, the first condition says same base. Now, first I have to see that which variable can I take. If I go ahead with s's, but the s's do not have the same base. They don't have the opposite signs, nor do they have the same base. So this kind of looks not a good option. And then the second one, I have a 2c. If I go ahead with the c's, so there's a 2c, here there's a 2c, which means one of the condition is satisfied, that is, the bases are same, which means I can somehow use elimination, first of all, and secondly, I can go ahead with doing something to my c's, basically eliminating my c's. But in order to eliminate my c's, I need to make sure that the signs are opposite. That's the rule. So in order to make the signs opposite, one has to be plus, one has to be minus. So it's your wish which equation you choose to turn into negative. I would prefer taking the first equation and turning it into negative, because the reason being that 18 is a smaller number, 2s is also smaller than 3s. So if I turn those into negatives, then it's going to be easier to do 22 minus 18 and 3 minus 2. It's going to give me a positive answer in the end. If instead I would take a negative on the second equation, then it would be negative 3 and negative 22. Again, those numbers are bigger, so my final answer is going to be negative. So it's just, in the end, it's going to be complicated and I might mess up the signs. So it's just better to go with the safe option. Now that I have negative, uh, I have to multiply negative sign with the entire first equation. So I'm going to do negative times 2s, which gives me negative 2s. Then negative times 2c, again negative 2c. And negative times 18 is equal to negative 18. Now, technically, this equation becomes my first equation, and this is my second equation. Let's say this equation does not exist in the picture anymore. Now that I have to use elimination, elimination basically means that I have to eliminate something. I chose to eliminate my c's, and for that I need the same base, which was already okay. And then I needed opposite signs, which is okay now. I have opposite signs. I have a plus 2c on the top and the negative 2c on the bottom. I can just simply cut off the two c's, because a positive 2 minus a negative 2 just gives me a 0, which means c's are gone. There's 0c now. Now I have 3s with 2s and 22 minus 18. So 3s minus 2s equals 22 minus 18. So 3s minus 2s means just 1s, or I can just write it down as s is equal to 22 minus 18, which gives me a 4. Now my s, or my scones, is equal to 4. Now, once I have my s, I need to figure out what's my c. Now, it's completely your wish to either take the previous equation, the equation number 1, to figure out your c, or equation number 2, or the rearranged equation. It's completely your choice which one you want to take in for finding out your c. Now, the point is, you have your s as 4. You need to put in this number, the solution, inside any of the equations in place of s, and then figure out your c. So let me just take equation number 2 for that. Equation number 2 says 3s plus 2c equals 22. So instead of my s, I'm going to replace my s with 4. So I'm going to write 3 times 4 plus 2c equals 22. Now I have 3 times 4, that gives me a 12, plus 2c equals 22. Now I have a 12 here and a 22 on the other side. They're both numbers, so I need to make sure that the numbers come on one side. So I'm going to take my 12 to the other side. Now 12 is positive here. When it goes to the other side, turns into negative. So I'm going to do 2c is equal to 22 minus 12. Now 22 minus 12, I'm going to continue my solution here. So 22 minus 12 is giving me 2c, and 22 minus 12 is 10. So 10 is equal to 2c. Now that I have to find out my c, I got to take my 2 to the other side. Now this 2 is in multiplication with the c. When it goes to the other side, it turns into division. So I'm going to do 10 over 2 is equal to c. So 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 5 is 10, and c is equal to 5. So therefore, that's my final answer. What does it say? Form two equations. I had my two equations. 2s plus 2c equals 18. 3s plus 2c equals 22. Those are my two equations. First part, solve. Solve to find the cost of each scone, each coffee. My each scone is 4 and my each coffee is 5. And what is that? What is it? It's pounds. Okay, so I have 4 pounds for each scone and 5 pounds for each coffee. This is my final answer. This is how you set up your equations based on what information is given to you. Form two equations, then decide which method you want to use, either substitution or elimination, and then just try and solve it out, just work it out, and then find one of your answers. Select your variable, then find that variable. Once you have that, put it in the other equation to find the other variable, and you will also get the answer for the second one. And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching Easy Learn. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. If you have any questions, any confusions, drop them down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching.